ahead now and begin to alter this into a corset pattern. Okay, so now to be able to alter this into a corset pattern, we're going to come here now. We're going to be doing our dart intake at the underbust to contour the underbust. That's to tighten the underbust. Okay, the underbust measurement of this person is 29. When you divide 29 by 4, you're going to have 7¼ Can you see? 7¼ So this is the underbust line. I have my 7¼ here. So what do I have left here? I have 1¼ inch. I hope you can see this. I have 1¼ inch. Okay, so I'm going to be doing my dart intake. That's taking my dart on this side, okay, to tighten the underbust. So I have 1¼ Remember that when we took our dart here, we connected to the bust point directly. So that is why it's giving us our dart intake for the underbust. Okay, so I have 1¼ So I'm going to distribute it between these two. That's the center piece and the side piece. So at this part, take note now, I'm going to be starting from the dart leg. That's away from the dart leg. I'm not going to be marking into the dart leg. Remember, I have 1¼ So I'm going to be marking ½ inch on this side. I'm marking ½ inch on the center side. This is the center. Okay, so I'm marking ½ inch on the center, and then I'm going to mark the remaining 3/4 on the side. Remember, we have 1¼ so the remaining will be 3/4. So I'll mark my 3/4 on this side. Okay, so now that I have this, I will connect it now to this dart leg here. So I'm connecting this ½ inch to this part. Can you see what we have? So I'll come here too and connect this to this part. Okay, so I have this now. So I want to create my curve. Okay, so I'll bring in my armhole curve. Take note of the way I'm placing it. You don't want it to be too sharp or too curvy. So I'm just going to place it here. Take note of it. So I'll curve it to this point. Okay, so can you see what we have? So I'm going to do the same thing for this side. Okay, so I have my curve. Can you see? I've taken my dart now at the underbust. Okay, so I've done this. So I will now come here now on the chest line. Remember that we are making a cupped corset. Okay, so because we are making a cupped corset, we have to also tighten the upper bust. Okay, so I will come here now to get the upper bust. So a very easy way to get the upper bust line is now, can you see? I have from the bust point to the underbust, I have 3 inches, which is the distance. You add ½ inch to it to get your upper bust. So from this bust point line now, I'm going to mark 3.5. So here is my 3.5. So let me just go ahead and mark the 3.5 like this. 3.5. So now we know that this is our upper chest line. Okay, that's the upper bust line. Okay, so here's our upper bust line. Okay, I said whatever the distance is from the bust point to the underbust, add ½ inch to it. It will give you this. Sometimes you say you come down by 6 inches, 7 inches. So can you see in this case, from the tip of the shoulder to this point is 6.5. So which is still correct. But if you use this method, it will still give you what you are looking for. Okay, so I want to tighten now the under and the upper bust. Okay, so I'll come here to this upper bust now. I'm going to be taking ½ inch on this side. Just like I tightened the underbust, I'll tighten the upper bust so that it doesn't, the cloth, so that the cup doesn't stay flat on the chest and then it doesn't have a good shape. So you want it to have that nice shape, just like every normal bust here. That's every normal, whether it is your straight cut or whatever. So I'll mark my ½ inch here. And you see, I marked half inch on both sides. I marked half inch here, and I also went ahead to mark half inch here. So you bring in your ruler. You can use this part of your ruler like this, because you don't want it to be too sharp. You don't want it to be too curvy, and you don't want it to be too sharp. Okay, so I'll mark it now. Okay, so I've tightened the upper bust. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead now and draw our yoke. Okay, so remember that we're making a corset, so we want to have that middle part that will give you that corset look, that will be like a bra shape, the normal way your bra looks in front. So I'll just come here and mark half inch. Remember that our fabric or the paper is on fold. Just let me use this arrow to show you that is on fold, this sign, just to show you that is on fold, because this is our center front. So if anything I'm marking here, know that when we open it, the other side it will be ×2, because it's on fold. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark half inch now. So by the time I mark half inch, it means that when it is open, I'm going to have 1 inch. So I'll go ahead and mark that half inch, half inch, half inch. So I'll just connect it like this. This is so that you have that shape, that bra shape that corsets usually have. Okay, so now this is it, the half inch here. So now I want to create the the illusion, that's the sweetheart shape. Okay, so this person's cleavage from the neckline, because this neckline now is going to just sit on the collarbone, so you want to know the person's cleavage. This person's cleavage from the neckline is 6 inches, but she says she doesn't want the cleavage to show, so I'm going to be using 5 inches or 5.5 for the cleavage line. That I'm going up by half inch. Says she doesn't want to reveal her bust, so, and this 5 is also okay, because that 6 inches is beginning to reveal the cleavage. So here, this is our 5.5. So I want to create that sweetheart shape. Okay, so now this is our 5.5. I'll bring in my curve like this, and then I'll mark it. So you don't want to, if you want it to be really curvy, you can go ahead and mark it curvy. If you don't want it to be so curvy, you do it in the way that you want it to be. So now can you see how I'm placing my curve? See how I'm placing my curve? I'm going to connect it. Can you see the curve is not going into this half inch, because that place is supposed to have that bra shape. So I want it to have that bra shape. But if you want the sweetheart neckline to come all the way to this point, you can go ahead. It's still the same thing. But in this case, we don't want it to have the sweetheart shape there all the way to the center. We want to have the bra look at that part. Okay, so I'm going to do this. We'll connect it. So now I want to come down here. Okay, let me mark it again. So can you see? So it's going into this point. I've created that curved shape. Okay, so now I want to curve it in now to this part of the armhole. There are different ways to do that sweetheart shape. If you want the illusion, that's the net here, to just stop here, that's fine. That's, you are going to just take it into the armhole, that's fine. It means that this dot, now I'm going to do it so that I will erase it. That's not what we are doing, just to clarify us. Now I'm going to connect it like this. That's in a situation where you want your sweetheart shape to go this way. Have it at the back of your mind that this dot that you have here now, you have to come back here and replace it. You replace that 1 inch. Remember that it's half inch on both sides, so that's 1 inch. You come here and replace back that 1 inch. Okay, you come here and replace back that 1 inch, because you are going to have a shortage when you join. Remember that this yoke is going to be on top of this. So now let's take our measurement so that it's clear. Now let me measure the yoke. Remember, this yoke is going to come all the way to this part. So here is our yoke. We have 7 inches to this point, okay? So now if we take out our dart here, which is 1 inch, let me take my measurement of the bust here, that's of the cup here. Can you see here? I have 3/4 of an inch. I have 3 3/4. No, 3 3/4. So I'll place my tape on this 3 3/4. Can you see? I have 5 1/4. So meaning that there's going to be a shortage. So you want to come and replace it back if this is how you want your yoke to be. But in a situation where you are bringing your yoke downwards, which is what I'm doing, that means the whole of this upper part, the whole of the armhole here, the whole of the armpit here is going to be in the tool net. So I'll come here now. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm bringing it now like this. Can you see? So in this case now, I'm now curving it into the armhole like this. So can you see? So that means this one, I'm not using this one. So this is my actual sweetheart shape. So this is how this particular sweetheart is. Can you see? So I'm just going to bring it down nicely. Can you see? So it's going this way and then it's entering the armhole. I hope this is clear because it's very important. Not everybody will want their own yoke to always go, that's the whole armpit to be the yoke. Some will want it to go this way so that the net is just up and then the corset to start from here. So this one, this particular style I'm doing is going all the way into the armhole. Okay, so you come here now and do that. So now that we have this, we're going to go ahead and cut out our pattern before we now go ahead and start manipulating it to have our cup. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my paper scissors. Now I already have my sweetheart yoke here, so I'm just going to label this part as the yoke. So this will be cut on fold, okay? So you can see how it is here. Can you see the shape I have here? So this part is the part I'll be manipulating to have my cup, okay? So I'm just going to come here now and go ahead to do that. So we'll come and start cutting it out. I'll bring in my scissors and start cutting it out. So I'm just going to cut like this from the center here, because by the time I close this dart, I'm going to need to trim out my excesses. So this is my dart, cutting the waist dart now out. Okay, so and then I'm going to go ahead and cut out this part too. Okay, so I've removed the bust dart. Then sorry, the waist dart. Can you see? I've taken it out. So now you want to cut the bust dart. Okay, so by cutting the bust dart, can you see? So that now that I'm closing the bust dart, can you see what I have here now? So you see why it is necessary to have that that's this extra that I have here, because by the time you close the bust dart, you are going to notice, are you seeing it? By the time you close, you see it will give you, it will increase it. So of course you can see even with the ½ inch I increased, it's not even enough. So you see why it's good for you to leave this part, this extra, so that you can now blend it up. So now I'll just go ahead and cut out the dart properly. Okay, cut out everything there before closing. Okay, so Now I'll close it. So by the time I close it, we bring in my masking tape to close it. So, okay. So now that I've closed it, so you can see where the actual mark is. So I'm just going to blend it now so that it will meet the armhole. So that means it's going to increase my measurement. Can you see? Okay, so it's just a little. It just increased it with less than even quarter inch. So I've done that. So now this is my new line here. So I'll just go ahead and cut now. Okay, so can you see? If you follow every details, pay attention carefully, just watch this video, you'll get it right. Okay, so I want to go ahead and cut out the yoke now. But before I cut out the yoke, let me just cut the armhole. Okay, so here's the armhole. So I'm going to cut out the yoke. Can you see what the yoke looks like? So this is my center front. Remember that this is where it started from. So you just want to make sure that you're cutting out the right things. So here is our yoke, which is the illusion. What they call it illusion, you still call it yoke. So this part will be replaced with net. Okay, so this is my yoke. So I'm just going to put away these pieces. So this is the actual part, that's the down part of the corset. So now, why I left this, why I have not cut the upper part. Now you're going to take note of this. If you look at this, because of this curve it has here, by the time I place them together, can you see that this side is longer than this side? Can you see? It's just a little longer with quarter of an inch. So you want to make sure that you make it up, because remember you are going to be sewing them together. This is where you are going to get your cup from. So it's called truing. So you want to true this. Okay, so you just come here, cut a piece of paper and place it under this one. Okay, so when you place it under this one, that's the center front, because this is your center front and this is your side front. So when you place it under it like this, just tape down the paper, okay, and then do this, okay, and then just close the dart. When you close the dart, you see, so can you see that this part that is higher now has gone higher? So you want to just blend it into the neckline like this. So you just come here and then use your pencil to blend it. So can you see now it has increased this center front, that's this center. So you now go ahead and cut it out. So can you see now that I've opened it means that these two, this center and this side, are going to be equal when we are done. So having done this, I'll now go ahead to cut out my dart. So you just come here carefully and then cut out the dart. You want to just make sure that you're watching this carefully. You don't want to miss any part, so that you get it very right. Okay, so and then I'll take away the darts for this side too. Okay, so now we have this. So can you see? So this part now, if you take a look at this side piece, you'll notice that it's looking sharp. You don't want it to be sharp, so that it doesn't give you that sharpness on top of the bust. You want it to be as rounded as possible. So you can just bring in your curve, or you come in by like maybe 1 bar or quarter of an inch, or small, just to eliminate this sharpness there. So I'm just going to trim out this sharpness, because once you close your dart, you will notice it. So you are supposed to eliminate it. That's the advantage of pattern drafting. Okay, so can you see I eliminated it? So here and here, can you see how it is? So now we want to achieve our cup from this now. Remember, we are making a cupped corset. So, but before I do that, I want to show us something about the yoke now. Can you see? Can you see that by the time I place this yoke, can you see that they are all matching up? Can you see? This is the armhole. It's matching up. But if it was that kind of corset that you took the yoke to this place like this, you need to make it up. So this one will not have any shortage because the yoke is going all the way into the armhole. So we're just going to go ahead and add our sewing allowances and all. So that's just it. Okay. So now I want to get my cup. Okay. So the cup, this is the center piece. So I'm just going to label it center, that's center front. Okay. And then this is side front. So to come here now, this is the underbust point. Remember, this is the underbust point. So I'm just going to bring in my curved ruler and then just connect it like this. Can you see what I'm doing? Remember that this half inch that we left here, which is what we want to have at the center there. Okay, so you make sure that you place your curve away from that half inch. So I'm just going to place it now and connect it like this from the underbust. Okay, so we have this. So this is our center cup. So now to get the side cup, I'll come in from the side here. Remember that this is the armhole. I'll come in from the side here. I'll come in by 1 inch and 1.25. That's 1¼ or 1½. But I'm going to be using 1¼ Okay, so I'll mark this 1¼ here. So here's my 1¼ So I'll bring in my curved ruler again also, and then just curve it to this 1¼ here. Okay, so now this is my side cup and this is my center cup. So it's that simple. So all you just need to do, you just cut out your cups now. I came in by 1¼ and then I just placed my curved ruler on the underbust, and then curved it. Okay, so I'm cutting the center front. Okay, so now you want to be very careful, even though this one there's a clear difference that shows that they are different. Okay, so you can see I labeled the side front and then center front. Okay, so you want to notch this part. You can notch here and here to show that you are joining these two parts together like this. You're going to be joining them together. So and another thing I do is I still notch the upper part, but this is very clear. You can see the shape that we have here to show us the sweetheart shape, but it's still good to be on the safe side. So you can just come here and give it a tiny cut. So I will not make the mistake on my pattern, but I'll be notching on my fabric. So it's easy. You can't even make the mistake on your pattern because you'll be seeing it clearly. You know it's labeled and all that. But on your pattern, on your main fabric, go ahead and notch this part to show you that this is the center front. Here, that's the upper part. And then notch these two parts to show you that these are the sides that you will join. Okay, so I have my front patterns ready. So this is what we are going to have for the front. Can you see? And then this is our yoke for the front. So yes, I know that if you take note of what I'm doing, you're going to get it very, very right.